recording now as we speak. The current time is 8:23 p.m. My name is Ewan. This is the Colonial Podcast. This is episode 16. You can find me on Twitter at the Colonial Pod. This evening I am joined by John Paul, also known as JP, at Jeep1888. I'm going to save you the time for doing your own Twitter handle because I know them so well now. Unfortunately though, the current time in New Jersey, USA is 2:20 a.m. So Yompe, our dear friend and partner in crime, the missing part of the current Colonial Podcast trio, is tucked up in bed under his Celtic duvet, and I actually think he's a bit sick as well, because we were going to record this a couple of days ago. We are actually going to record this podcast twice in the 3 times in the last 2 weeks, and everybody cancelled on me, and then I think I cancelled one. So but Yompe is actually quite sick at the moment. I think he's down with the flu, and it's 2:30 in the morning, so I think it would be a bit of a stretch to get him to come on. So Yompe, get well, big man. We'll me and JP we'll hold it down for you, mate. We'll hold it down for you. JP, sorry for the long intro. How have you been, my brother, here in the beautiful land of New Zealand? What's been happening? Give the people an update.
Things are going well, mate. Nothing really changes. Working away, watching the Celtic, looking after the kids. That's about it, mate.
Good. So you've been enjoying the summer, good, and you've been working hard and doing all that family stuff. Well, that's the main reason for the massive delay in getting the podcast out recently. Real life has just taken over, but that's what happens when you listen to the Married with Children podcast. This is definitely, I think the people that listen to our podcast are like regularly, or the fans that we have, all 6 of them or 3 of them or whatever, are like probably like 40 somethings with kids, and like they're like, aye, we understand. You know what it's like, man. Try to find time to sit down and record something with people in different time zones is super difficult. So we managed to do it anyway. There's been some brilliant podcasts happening recently on Hail Media. We're following everybody, and everybody's doing a brilliant job. It's actually a brilliant time if you're into Celtic podcasts. The stuff that's coming out in the moment is fantastic, and I think that's probably just picking up on everything that's happening around the club. You've got to say, like, some of the Celtic podcasts that are going on just now, you know, and people getting interviews with big names, and it's just fantastic. So there's a good vibe going on at the moment in the podcast community, and you can't help but feel good about Celtic at the moment. You're just winning every game, you know, good things happening off the pitch as well, which we'll talk about. But yeah, definite good vibe going through the community just now. Can you hear that dog barking outside?
Nah. No,
it sounds like sounds like there's dog rape happening in the park. I should explain that I live on the edge of a park, and in the evenings you hear some strange sounds, but I think something's happening out there. Anyway, you obviously can't hear it, so we'll move swiftly on. Yes, you are correct, sir. It is, everything around the club right now is. It's kind of weird. I was thinking about this the other day before I did the podcast. I was kind of thinking, it's a bit crazy. Like, when everything was kind of going really, I wasn't going badly for the club, but when things were difficult for us, maybe under Ronnie Dyla, and even like there was a bit under Neil Lennon's tenure and stuff, where things got really kind of not difficult, but you know, he was up against it for his team selection, and there was some tricky times, you know. When you've got all that going on, it does make for a good podcast because there's plenty to bitch about. But at the moment, it's just like there's so much good news and there's so much good stuff going on with the club. It's just like, you know, what do? You just got to keep echoing the same sentiments as everybody else. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff we're going to go through on the podcast. I don't want to go over all stuff because we've been away for a few weeks. But it's sufficient to say that, there's definitely some good talking points for us to cover off. So I've done my notes this week. I've done my prep.
That's what you look at it this time last year, and just looking at the Homeboys podcast, and you know, they tried to keep things upbeat, but by the end of it, they were all just fucking miserable. You know, just talking about all the things that had gone wrong, money not being spent, the fact that we hadn't done a treble yet again, just a whole heap of shit going wrong. And you look at it now, well, in fact, less than a year later, and it's just the complete opposite. Like, you know, you can go in you can try and be negative, but fuck, man, like there isn't really anything to be negative about just now.
No.
Unless you're really nitpicking, it's like fucking, just everything's going as well or better than can be expected. So,
yeah, you're right.
Nice turnaround.
So on you go.
No, it's a nice turnaround.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, I think I've got a couple of things I want to have a go at, because that's what keeps me going in life, is having a go at something or someone. But getting on to Celtic, I guess. We played ICT and we played Motherwell. Look, we've talked a million times on this podcast about how we've been treated by teams, and I think really Vigurs, Draper during that game for me, just the Vigurs in particular. I watched the highlights today. That like the guy was similar to, I think maybe they're all watching Paul Payton or something, or they're members of the Paul Payton fan club, or there's some, I don't know what's going on, because he's another one. After he's making tackles, he's mouthing off. These guys are like, I watched them during the Inverness Cali Thus. It was him and another guy going into like out and out leg breaking tackles. The one in Sinclair was so bad, and then after it, they're like shouting at the ref. You know what I mean? Like literally, like just like mouthing off, as if I'm the one who's been wronged here and blah blah blah. And you're just thinking, mate, you're just basically you're running around the park just booting folks. So I couldn't believe the way those guys were acting, the Cali Thistle players. I was shocked at how they were just getting away with it during the game. So for me, I was just like, it's just getting worse every game. And Cali Thistle was a classic example of that, how teams are coming out now with a clear intention of actually trying to injure us. That it's as simple as that. Teams are now coming out, lining up against Celtic, and they've got free rein to actually try and injure us, and we'll get onto that topic, that hot topic, in a minute. Moving on to Motherwell. You watched the Motherwell game. I'll let you talk about the Motherwell game, because I've talked long enough. What did you think of the Motherwell game, mate?
Pretty average performance, but it's just one of those games where you don't play particularly well, but I was going to say you don't even grind out a win, because we didn't have to. We just played in third gear the whole time and bloody cruised to it. So scored the goals at important times, killed it in the first half. I mean, 2-0 at half time, you think you're going to come out in the second half and fucking destroy them. Didn't quite happen that way, but just played well within ourselves. Easy 3 points at home. On to the next one.
I thought it was quite a boring game. I've got to say, I didn't really enjoy watching it. But you're not going to, I mean, you can't expect every week Celtic to just be like, 6-0 and, like those games where we pull it back from 2-0 down because our defence has made a couple of errors, especially now the way Rodgers has got like Boyata and the other guys rotating and playing to a minimum standard, which is another topic I want to kind of bring up, as this kind of everybody seems to be playing to this minimum standard of performance. No one seems to be dipping badly below a certain standard, which means that it's really hard for teams to score against us. But the Motherwell game is all right. I mean, for me, Forrest, when he plays aggressively like he did in the Motherwell game, when he's really direct, when he's playing straight at defences, and if he can keep doing that, if he can keep that level of aggressive attacking play going, then we don't. There's no need to worry about signing someone for that position other than cover. And we'll get into Gary Mackay-Steven in a minute, because I watched him today as well. But his goal against Motherwell was fantastic. It was not one of the best goals of the season, but the way he moved the ball, the way he got it past the defender and drilled it was brilliant, man. I was so impressed. I'm impressed with the way Forrest has actually picked his game up, in the last few games. What do you make of Forrest recently? Yeah,
I mean, we're getting to that time of the season that he tends to kind of have 3 or 4 good games in a row now. I'm not convinced that he's going to be the answer going into Europe next season. I think we still need to strengthen in position. But yeah, I mean, he deserved his goal. He put in a few good assists the week before as well, so can't complain about his performances. But we've seen it from before over the years, and he just can't keep it up on a consistent basis.
Aye, that's the thing. I was listening to 90 Minute Cynic, and they were like, "Aye, I've been hurt before." I was like, "Aye, yeah." And that's what I'm saying with Forrest. You know, like when he was good, when this season started, it was like everyone was talking about. Obviously, everybody was talking about Sinclair and everybody was talking about Dembele. But when they were talking about Forrest, it was exciting because it was like, right, Brendan Rodgers is going to turn Forrest into the James Forrest that we all want, which is it just, you know, most games, or like the majority of games, he's got that aggressive, you know, running at folk, driving into the box, you know, putting in good crosses, you know, and I mean, he can score as well. When he plays like that, we know that he can score goals. So, but as you say, the inconsistency has been there. So it was great to see that happen. And that leads me to another topic, but we'll just finish up on Motherwell because I'm trying my best to get through the first two fucking games. I've got I believe it or not, I'm actually reading notes here, try to keep me on track. But with Dembele's penalty that he got in the Motherwell game, it leads into another aspect of Dembele's game, because one of the reasons that I think Dembele is such a good player is his ability to position himself. Like he gets his body into, I mean, he's physically strong, so he can hold people. I mean, you've seen it before. People try to get the ball off him and he's like, nah, you know, he'll just elbow them, they'll bounce off him. But his ability to position himself on the ball properly, and that was a classic example. Like he forced that penalty because of his positioning, and like he's an intelligent, I said this earlier in the season, he's such an intelligent striker in terms of how he moves himself, not just the ball. You know, he's got good ball control, but the way he got himself into position to get the penalty was really clever. And then the rest is history, because we know that when Dembele lines up for a penalty, it's just like it's done. So for the Motherwell game, that was mainly the two talking points for me. It was pretty much just the fact that you know, Forrest is coming back into it, and Brendan Rodgers seems to have this ability to pick players when they're coming into form. I don't know if you've noticed this, but he seems to be able to go, aye, let's put him in, because he's performing at the moment. And it's one thing I was going to say to you about Brendan Rodgers is his ability to pick players up and put them into a game when they're hitting good form. You know, it's all managers should be able to do that, but I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah. Well, you look at how he chooses his team, and you compare it to Celtic managers of the past. Every Celtic manager that I can think of had their favourites. So, you know, Lennon had his kind of generals in the team. Martin O'Neill certainly did. And even Diala would stick by players that weren't performing. You know, think about Johansson. But Brendan doesn't seem to have favourites. You know, if you're not pulling your weight in the team, then you're going to get dropped at some point. Yeah. So and he, I get what you're saying. He does seem to kind of know the right time to drop someone and put someone else in. So yeah, he certainly gets more right than he gets wrong.
Yeah, because he put Henderson in, and I thought Henderson was okay. Like he put so many balls out like into Rosette, and he was putting them into the fucking car park and stuff, and like. You know, I think Henderson can do really well if he just keeps working hard. I think in a couple of seasons he could become a player, because he's still young enough to do that. But
I think so too. Yeah. Yep.
Like the way he moves on the ball, he's got. You know, there's only so many phrases you can use to describe a player, but he's got great touch. He's got good ball control, but he just needs. It's almost like he needs, these young guys need more. Like I'd rather play. I think Callum McGregor is performing better than Henderson, but you know, he's put Henderson in, and Henderson wasn't that great. So you could argue, well, why did he do that? But the reason he did that was because Stuart Armstrong was injured. You know, Bitton and Brown seemed to be working in tandem pretty well as kind of. But you know, Bitton is still slack now and again. But I think Rodgers has tidied up his game enough to the point where he's reliable. And when he plays well, he's actually really good. He comes forward a bit. He can put a good pass in, and as we saw for Lustig's goal, he can put a great attacking ball in. So for me, the third position is Armstrong, and that's where Callum McGregor and Henderson have been kind of. It's good that he's given guys this sort of opportunity, because as we saw under Lennon, some of the younger guys just never get a look in. When I watched Neil Lennon, I used to tear my hair out. I was like, fuck, come on, play someone other than the same team. And Samaras, you know, it was just like, what are you doing? So it's good to see them coming in. But I think for ICT and Motherwell, for me, Forrest was the main highlight. Obviously Dembele's fantastic, but for me it was great to see Forrest coming back to form, which leads us into the kind of, I don't know, the disappointment of the ongoing attitude of referees towards us. I won't say disappointment because we all expect it now, but it's getting to the stage now, and we've said on this podcast, how many weeks now have we been saying on this podcast, somebody's going to get hurt, like the referees are giving them free rein. And we saw it in the last couple of games. I mean, during that Motherwell game, I couldn't believe it when I saw the replay. I was like, there's no debate. I've heard other people debating it, like, oh, I saw it later on, or I was at the game and stuff like that. But like, for me, that tackle was like, it studs up at head height. You're done. You're done. It doesn't matter where the ball is. It doesn't matter if there's no debate. I mean, it's open and closed case. Like, he should have been off straight away. And it's like, fucking Enter the Dragon, man. Like, I mean, it's like Bruce Lee. So I was so disappointed with that, man. To see that almost happen to KT.
I mean, for me, there's no debate. But you know, according to Barry Ferguson and Scott McDonald in Sports Sound, the boy's not that type of player. He didn't mean to do it. You know, just a wee bit mistimed. But you know, he's not that type of player, so it shouldn't be a red card. Which, just about sums it up. But you know, you're right. I mean, it does seem to have got worse over each week that goes past, and there's no logic to it. You know, you can't explain why referees aren't given yellow cards and red cards, but it does seem to be that they're just fucking not flashing them to anyone that's playing against Celtic.
Paul Larkin knows why. And
yeah, but it's a bizarre time to start doing it. This is a season where we're in the ascendancy, where their cheating isn't going to make any difference. So why not just, if you're a referee, why not just hold your fire till, you know, well, I was going to say next year, it's probably not going to be any different next year, but what's the point of giving all these really, you know, unpunished challenges in a season like this, unless they just want to get our players injured, which is probably what it is.
It's insane, and it's been building up because as we've just discussed, Inverness Calais Thistle game was incredible, man. Like, Vigurs and Draper should have been both off, both red carded. They'll just try and break your leg. They don't care. There's nothing to them. I mean, what they'll get if they get away with it, they might maybe get pulled up for it. And worse for us, we lose a player for the rest of the season, or even worse, like John Kennedy, who lost his career. And it's so, you know, one of the things I noticed recently was there's a system, right? Obviously, we all know there's a system. If someone gets unfairly sent off, there's a system to appeal it, right? So we saw, I think it was Aberdeen appealed a red card and they got overturned recently. So you've got a player in your team who is wrongly red carded or wrongly penalised for making what seems to be a bad tackle, right? So you say to the SPFL or the sporting body, oh look, you know, he's not available for us now because of the fact that you know, we believe you made the wrong decision. Look at the video evidence, and can you please reconsider your action? Well, what I'd like to see happen is if Brendan Rodgers or the Celtic, you know, the Celtic coaching staff or even, you know, whoever's at Celtic Park say, look, you nearly seriously injured one of Scotland's brightest prospects or an up-and-coming Celtic player with your dangerous play. We believe the referee made the wrong decision. Can you review it? What that does is it now sends out a message to the rest of Scottish football or people who come and do that. Look, you're not going to get away with, you know, dangerous tackles. And when we say dangerous tackles, we're not talking about, you know, following through in the ball or standing your ground or anything like that. We're talking about stamping on players, kicking players when on the ground, coming in to the side of a player's knee and doing fucking Bruce Lee flying kicks and then coming down on someone's knee. And I believe there should be a system whereby dangerous play is actually reviewed in the Scottish game. I don't know what you think about that, but If it works one way, shouldn't it work the other way? Am I wrong? I mean, have I been drinking too much cider? Tell me, because I'll stop. I'll put the bottle down now. It's driving me crazy, man.
It makes perfect sense to me. Whether the result would actually be any different to the one that the referee gave on the pitch, because we know that they fucking back each other up when it comes to reviews and stuff like that. But no, I agree with everything you're saying there.
It's just I've been watching this for the last. We've been watching this for the last few weeks, and you, me, Yompe have all talked about it. It's getting worse. Somebody's going to get hurt, and we nearly saw. And we'll get on to today's game in a minute, because here we are. And it's like every week I do this podcast, and I'm like, let's do something different. Let's not slag off. Well, actually, no. Let's slag off the Scottish media, because it's hilarious, especially BBC Sports Sound podcast. And I owe an apology to everybody. I have started listening to the BBC Sports Sound podcast again. By the way, I have. Do you know why? Because it's comedy gold. Go and listen to it. We don't need to boycott them. Go and listen to them. It's brilliant. Forget about Clyde. Listen to the BBC Sports Sound podcast, because some of the shite they come out with is just comedy gold. But we've been saying somebody's going to get hurt for weeks now, for the last couple of months, and then we see today against Hamilton, right? The first thing that happened was Stuart Armstrong missed a sitter, right, which was just I don't blame him, because he's not been playing. But we'll get into the game and we'll get into the team in a minute. But I want to go straight to that tackle, because here you've got a young guy who just didn't. He knew he wasn't going to get the ball from Forrest, and he just basically went right through the boy and took him out of the game. And I believe the only reason that happened is because in the last 4 games Celtic have played, the referees have been far too lenient. I would say at best they've been lenient, and at worst they're corrupt, because they want, or they're given. It's basically open season on Celtic players, and that's what happened. James Forrest is now, I don't know how long he's out for. I haven't seen the injury reports. I was looking there earlier to see if there was any news on his injury. But what did you make of the tackle on Forrest? I mean, it was shocking, man.
Yeah, I've not seen it. I read the reports that said it was. Well,
wait a minute. Stop. Right. So, before we did the podcast, JP said to me, by the way, I can't talk about the Hamilton game because I've not seen it. I've had a really busy day with the kids and it's been mental, so can you do it? I was like, right. But he said, I've seen the highlights. Was that tackle not in the highlights? Tell me that tackle was in the highlights. Was it not in the highlights?
I said I've seen the goals and read a match report.
I bet you've not even watched the highlights, man. No way. I bet if I watch the highlights, that tackle, I'm going to watch the highlights right now. Right, here we go. I bet it's in the highlights. Let's see. It might not even be up on SBFL. But mate, go and watch it. You will see absolute thuggery. It's total. He's like so late for the ball. It's ridiculous. He's like 2 days late for the tackle. And he just like upends him. And Forrest is rolling about, dying on the pitch, and you're like, you can see when it's your own player. Like today, Bruni did it, and was, because Bruni's just the master of the mind game and all that. Like, and he's doing it for. I don't know why Bruni does it, or other players might do it, but you can see Forrest was genuinely hurting, and it. Mm-hmm. The only reason it happened, excuse me, I've got a wee bit of a cider here in the old in the pipes clearing itself. The only reason he did it was because he knew he could get away with it, and he did. He got up straight after it and walked off. He didn't even stop to see if the player was okay. He was like, "Yep, there you go. I've done your kneecap in. Right, I'm off, mate." And he just got up and got on with the game. And it's like, fucking, you wee bastard. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's getting to. I mean, look, we had Brendan Rodgers come out and speak up about this. Don't know what you think about that, but Brendan. I was thinking in my own head, when someone at Celtic Park going to actually come out and say, when are we going to get some protection from the referees? What's going on? And Brendan Rodgers did that. He did that, this week before the game.
Mm. Yep. I didn't even hear that. So what, Brendan Rodgers came out and talked about the way that referees are.
Well, basically he came out. He basically said, look, I think Kieran Tierney put the tweet out. He said, look, I think his tweet was a little bit high on KT. He basically tweeted out because the guy came up after the game or at the end of the game and like trying to apologise, and Keane Tierney was like, whatever, mate, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not fucking interested, which I'm not surprised, but he tweeted it out, and then Brendan Rodgers then followed up a few days later, I think it was some point this week, saying, you know, we need some protection from the referees because we saw what happened to John Kennedy. And he mentioned John Kennedy in the press release, and that's what I had in my head. I've been thinking this is why I keep going on about the referees, not because I'm worried they're going to give their team a penalty or they're going to send one of our players off. It's got nothing to do with that. The reason I go on fucking rants about refs is because I don't want to see any of our players get bad injuries. You know, everybody could see that what was going to happen, and what's going to happen next week. You know, it's like he got away with it. He's not been put up for it. So there should be a system where we appeal and say, look, that guy did that to one of our players. We'd like to appeal for him to have a 5-match ban. A couple of weeks ago we had 2 guys sliding into Sinclair sideways on his knee. They got away with it. Where's their red card?
He's done the right thing by coming out and pointing that out. Don't think it will actually change anything, but shit, yeah, wouldn't change anything. Wouldn't argue against him coming out. Yeah.
But the thing is, if we keep making a noise about it in the media, and I sometimes think that the club are sometimes a little bit guilty of not doing enough. We had the incident with the fans after the game a few weeks ago with the mounted police and all that, and sometimes you just want Celtic to speak up a little bit more. I feel as if, I don't know, it's like I'm not looking for the bad points, but sometimes you do think that the club should speak out a little bit more against this sort of stuff. I'm sure maybe they have done, and I've missed it. I have been busy, but it's just like I was for me. It was great to hear Brendan Rodgers come out and say, "Look, it's not, you can't do that." You know, I mean, Keane Tierney he's a great talent for Scotland, and you know, we don't want to see young guys like that losing their careers. Different if it happens to a guy in his mid-30s. Well, early 30s or whatever, it's probably their fault because they're fucking old and fat or whatever. You're like, right, you know what I mean? You've done your turn, fine, mate. Go and retire. You've probably saved up enough. But a young guy like him, he's got his whole career in front of him. The last thing you want to see is some fanny from Motherwell doing a fucking Jackie Chan move on him for what? For nothing, for a ball that's probably going out anyway. I mean, it wasn't even on the goal mouth. So
Motherwell, Cali Thistle, Aberdeen, you know, just absolute cloggers. Just looking at the fixture list, we've got 2 of our next 3 games are going to be potentially bad for just reckless challenges. We've got Cali Thistle coming up in the midweek there, and then the Huns in a couple of weeks' time, and you can just see a few meaty challenges in those games.
Well, we're kind of giving it back now. I watched Hamilton game today, and I want to talk about Scott Brown. Scott Brown does so much work, and today he was not pussying out, man. That guy he threw his weight about, and if you watch the game on Celtic TV, which I know you will, you'll see him. He was like, "Nah, fuck you. That's my ball, and don't try and push me about because I'll give it back to you." And there was a few Celtic players doing that as well, and that's why I think Brendan Rodgers has actually said to them, "Give it back, don't pussy out, give it back, stay on your feet." And do you know what I mean? If they're pushing you, just give it back, because if you let yourself get kicked about the park, it's just going to go on, and no one's going to stop it. The rest, as you say, it's not going to change because he comes out and says it. But the more Celtic players stand up for themselves, and the more that the club come out and say, look, these referees are a joke, that you know, it will get highlighted eventually. We can't rely on the press to do it, but it was picked up on after the game by a few media outlets. I don't know if you saw any of the highlights. There's a great guy on YouTube, Jinxie Johnson, who does a fantastic job of giving us the highlights, and I was watching the media coverage. He actually does. He doesn't just do this guy on YouTube, and if no one's seen him, go and check out Jinxie Johnson on YouTube. He does a lot of media coverage, and he kind of edits it and puts it together, and they did pick up on the tackles thing. So the sad news is I don't think we've seen the last of it, but yeah.
No, it's not going to peak until someone gets injured, is my worry. You know, and at that point, people will kind of outside of the club will set up and take notice.
It's done, yeah. Forrest is fucked. I mean, well, not fucked, but you know what I mean. They get fucking pummeled today, man. Like, I was in the kit. I was watching it during the day, and I was fucking as I was watching the game, I was totally raging about it, and the missus was like, "What's going on?" And I was trying to describe, it's like when you try to describe what's going on to women who don't watch football, and they're like, "Oh, that's nice, that's good for you," and I'm like, "Yeah." But it's like, yeah, I don't want to labour the point, but saw it coming, mate. Saw it coming. I guess we should. On you go.
So is Forrest out for the season or what? Or any word on how bad the injury is?
Don't know. I will endeavour while we do this podcast to do a mini bit of research and try and find out. I don't have a clue how bad the injury is, but he didn't come back on. And Gary Mackay-Steven did come on for him, but we'll talk about the Hamilton game now. We might as well. We've just spent 15 minutes going mental about referees, just for a change. So I will try and find out what's going on with James Forrest, but I actually don't know how bad the injury is. Maybe it's... I mean, he was writhing in pain and didn't play the rest of the game, so you can only assume that it was fairly serious, but you never know. These knocks can sometimes recover quickly. Yeah, for the Hamilton game today, Dembele, the way he's been moving the ball about, and one thing I've picked up on Dembele, I don't know if you've noticed this, the way Dembele is kind of controlling his space before he takes a shot, the way he can basically flick the ball. He did it during the Cali Thistle game as well, and he got fouled, which wasn't picked up on. But the way Dembele moves the ball before he gets a shot off or gets into space to take the shot, it's fantastic. And Jose Mourinho was out during the week saying that apparently there was a quote. There's not a direct quote from Jose Mourinho, but he is basically saying he's comparing him to the boy that used to play for Chelsea, and I've forgotten his name. What's his name?
Drogba?
Didier Drogba. That's it. How do you forget Didier Drogba? Yeah, that's the comparison. Now, I don't know what you think. Have you been watching him? We know he's picked up. We know that he is scoring goals for fun, but it's not just the ability to finish. There's something else at play, and you saw it today for Hamilton, and you've seen it in the last few games. Like, his physical strength combined with such good ball control, it's like when you get that combination and it comes together, it's just like, holy shit, this guy's amazing, you know?
Yeah. Oh, look, I think in the playing styles, yeah, it's probably a fair comparison. In terms of the players themselves, fuck that. I mean, Drogba was just a prick. Trying to get people sent off all the time and, arguing with refs and stuff like that. I think Dembele's got a much calmer head on him. But yeah, certainly in terms of playing style, they both held the ball up well. Both good finishers, and as you're saying, the way they can just kind of turn really quickly and fire a shot off. Yeah.
And he did it today. The goal against Hamilton today was... I was watching it with my boy. We don't get to watch the games on the big screen. Today I managed to do it, and he was like, "Whoa, goal, Dad," and I was like, yeah, because he's 5 and he's just getting into football. He doesn't really get how it all works yet. He's just about to start playing. But I mean, it was a brilliant goal. That's all I want to say about it. It was one of the goals of the season for me. The goal today, one of his best goals of the season. The way the technique to hit it, yeah, really good.
And he's on 29 for the season now. How many do you reckon he'll finish up on? At 40?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're looking at 40 plus.
Yeah.
I really do. Unless he gets an injury or I don't know. You can't see his form dipping now. He's hit this vein of form. It's just it's so difficult to see him either going off the boil or even getting replaced by anybody else. I mean, Griffiths came on today, which is great, which another topic I want to talk about. But yeah, his goal was a thing of beauty today. The way he just drove into space, turned and took the shot, fantastic. I think for me, other key performers today, Kieran Tierney was brilliant, Scott Brown really good, and even Boyata had a good game as well. As he's been doing, he's been pretty consistent. Gave a couple of balls away, but today Boyata was good. I was quite impressed with how Boyata played, but not as impressed as I was by Gamboa.
Okay.
I know you haven't seen the full game, so this is where Yompy comes in and starts telling us how great Gamboa was. Yompy, wake up! It's only... it's only... Wait a minute, I'll tell you what time it is in New Jersey. Get up! Fucking man can sit for 12 hours and get a tattoo, but he can't come on my podcast at 3 a.m. He's a lightweight. Honestly. Gamboa was really good today, man. Like, some of the passes he put in, like, he put passes up that wing that were pinpoint accurate, and the way he controlled the ball when he got it and moved it about, the way he moved forward and attack, he was great. Way more dynamic than Michael Lustig is attacking wise, and Michael Lustig has been pretty good in the last few months. Everybody will agree, even me, and I gave him stick for his performances under Dialer at times, and even maybe at the beginning of the season. But Lustig is a mainstay at Celtic, or he's certainly one of those players when he's brought in. No one has a worry about him now because he's good at centre back, and we know at right back he can do a job as well. But Gamboa today was very dynamic, and that's the word I would use for him. Really, really good. Put some great balls up the wing. Yeah, if he keeps playing that way, he could find himself getting the right back position more often. I would have no trouble. You know, I wouldn't be worried at all about seeing Gamboa in that right back position. Really, really, really good performance for Gamboa today. They gave man of the match to Dembele, which I would, because he's a match winner. You know, I think if you were to describe Dembele, he's a match winner, and he's the type of guy that will turn games around. For me, it's interesting. They were talking recently about Dembele's long-term future, and there was a story came out saying that he has no plans to leave Celtic anytime soon. I'm sure that's just part of the PR run for whatever's going to happen at the end of the season. But
well, that's it. It's great news that he's going to be here for the next 4 years. You can imagine Peter Lawwell's just delighted to hear that, eh? Boy's going to see it as contract and leave for nothing. I mean, obviously that's not going to happen, but I did have a wee giggle when I saw that report coming out, and just imagining Peter Lawwell's face, like, falling and shitting himself and calling the agent like, what, you know, don't get carried away.
I've got a deal lined up here. Don't scupper it with your fucking unsanctioned press release. Fucking 4 years, he's gone at the end of the season. I want my bonus. He's got to get another heated driveway for his holiday home. Yeah,
the maintenance costs and those things are bloody horrific, mate. So yeah, he needs a player sale.
That's fine, man. See, to maintain heated driveways, you just need volunteers to work for free. Easy.
I think someone else has had that idea.
Nah, man. I think that's illegal in Scotland, getting people to work for nothing, is it not? I'm sure it is under EU law. I think. Well, wait a minute. Brexit. Maybe it's something to do with that. That's probably something to do with it. But
they're not working for nothing. They're getting the privilege to see their football team play.
But can you watch it? But if you're like helping out with people coming in at the stadium, do you actually get to watch the whole game? Probably not. They can't. They're not asking for stewards, but because they can't be stewards because they've got to be like licensed and all that. I think the homeboys were talking about that during the week, saying you can't actually work as a steward unless you've got a steward's license. But I thought that was hilarious. The Hun meltdown chat has been fantastic.
Yeah, I'm guessing what they're trying to do is cut down the number of stewards and bring in more of these free people that will, you know, for every bloody one steward they'll have another two of them or something like that instead of another steward.
But what are they going to do? Like, it's there's something wrong with that club. I mean, we all know there's something wrong with that club, but there's something wrong with that club. Do you know what I mean? Like,
there's a few things wrong with that club.
But there's something wrong with that club. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean that like right now. But there's just it just never ends, man. It's the production line of it's gold. It's pure. Every week it just gets better and better. Look, Yompy's not here, right? This is where we just cut to Yompy going on a 20-minute fucking roller coaster ride about the Huns and just unleash him on it, and we should phone him and wake him up and say, Yompy, come on, man. We're giving it to him, but we can't do it, man. So much good stuff has come out. Oh my God, it's been fantastic the last couple of weeks. It really has. But let's finish up on the Hamilton game today before we turn our attentions to the sweet Sevco tears that have been flowing from Castle Grayskull. Gary Mackay-Steven came on for James Forrest today, and he actually did all right. He actually did okay. He is trying. I don't think he's got the same directness as Forrest, and he still is quite lightweight. He's a bit paper thin. Is that a word you can use? Like, we all know Paddy Roberts likes to stop and do a wee shimmy and beat a man or three and then put a quality ball in or finish. And we know that James Forrest likes to just use his pace and turns guys around as he's running at them. Gary Mackay-Steven is like, he's a strange one. He's almost a combo between the two, but not quite. Like, he played, I thought he did alright today.
I think paper thin is probably a good description for him. He doesn't have the kind of physical attributes to really kind of worry defenders. He's got a bit of skill about him, he's got a bit of pace, but shit, you just never really think that he's gonna kind of burst his way past defenders and stuff. And I mean, the big thing for me about Mackay-Steven and the, you know, why he's in a level down from the likes of Forrest is his decision making. I mean, you know, Forrest will get maybe, I don't know, 6 out of 10 decisions right, you know, crossing the ball or deciding to dribble with it or having a shot. Mackay-Steven, it's maybe 3 out of 10. When it comes to the kind of crunch moments, he's just fucks up so many times. There's no other way of putting it. You know, you look at the chances that he's glass in front of goals all the time. You know, runs into dead ends. Doesn't run at people when he should be running at people. It's
When he played at Dundee United, Gary Mackay-Steven could do that. He could beat people and score goals. I mean, he had the pace to do it. He had the confidence to beat players, and he had the confidence to drive a goal and score. And I think if there's ever been a time for him to show Celtic fans that he can do it, now is the time. If James Forrest is injured, which I really hope he isn't, because he was coming in at such good form. But, you know, we're 30 points ahead, and I haven't even looked at the table, but we're 30 points, you know, thereabouts. This is the time when, you know, there's no pressure on him. It's not as if he's under major pressure. If he's going to do it, he's going to do it now. And James Forrest is out. Patrick Roberts is still coming back. So I thought he did okay. I just thought it's not a big. I don't want to, like, you know, go on about him, but it was all right. He did good. I thought Mackay-Steven did okay. He did all right today. He wasn't terrible, but definitely need to see more from him. I was the game today for me. It was interesting because I actually thought we were going to see more dirty tackles, but actually it wasn't too bad. Hamilton weren't too nasty on the ball. Like, after Forrest gets sent off, it was pretty much just us, you know, not taking opportunities that we could and controlling the game. We stood up against the physicality for a large part of the game, so it didn't turn into the rugby match, which I thought it might do, given that boy went right through Forrest. So it's interesting. We've had a couple of we're beating teams like 2-0 by a couple of goals here and there, and it seems to be, for me, what I've noticed with the team, I don't know what you think, but everybody seems to be performing to a minimum, this kind of minimum standard, like a bit like a Brendan Rodgers seems to have set out a kind of baseline for them and saying, look, this is what I expect at least. If you don't perform to that, you're not getting in the team. And I don't know what you think, but there's no one that I can see in that team who's, you're like, get him out. No one's actually doing that. I mean, Bitton touched on it a bit this season, but there's no one there that you can actually go week after week after. Do you know what I mean? Like under Dyler or under Lennon or under other management, like, why is he still playing? That's not happening at the moment. And from what I can see, it's because Rodgers has got them all playing to this. There's a minimum standard that's expected.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you're right, but you look at earlier on in the season, and there were certain players that weren't meeting that standard. And I'm thinking about Doris de Vries being the obvious example, but also kind of Colo Touré in his last month or so on the team was kind of well below what I expected, and these guys are just getting cut. But I think the other thing you have to think about at the moment is we're playing some pretty bad teams, and it's a lot easier for the likes of your McGregors, your Beatons, even your Forest to kind of raise their game and look competent or more than competent against these types of teams. The first half of the season we were playing bloody European qualifiers, you were playing in the Champions League, and it was probably a lot tougher to kind of maintain those standards, and a few players suffered during that time. But at the moment, I mean, it's not easy to do, to keep that level up every week, but it sure is hell easier to do it against Cali, Thistle, Hamilton. I mean, we seem to be playing these teams all the time. It's just like...
There were players who would week to week play really badly under, opposition that were similar to what's happening now. So I believe the reason that's happened is because Brendan Rodgers we all know he's a better manager, he's a better coach, but his ability to read the team and to keep everybody ticking at a basic standard for me is fantastic. The bare minimum is either good or very good, and it's like it's crazy. It's still going to peak. But it's nuts to think that we've not really gone crazy in the transfer market, that Brendan Rodgers has still got to put his full weight into what he's doing at Celtic for the next few years. Like, it is crazy. Which leads us into the whole overall status of the club and the gap, or there's another word that was used recently for it, but I don't know what you think, but we've moved up, our club and the players, we've all moved up another, like, into another atmosphere, another level, I think, overall now.
Oh shit, yeah. I mean, you look at not just on the pitch but off the pitch as well. You look at how the stadium looks now. You look at Celtic Park being more or less full for league games, and just, I guess, the style of play, the fact that we've got so many sellable assets as well. If we didn't qualify,
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, and the fact that no one's really that worried, not for the next year anyway, but qualifying for the Champions League. I don't know if you are, but for me, it's like, it doesn't seem that high a hurdle anymore. We're actually thinking about how we're going to get players that are going to perform in the group stages, as opposed to how we're going to actually get there in the first place.
I think so. I think that's a fair comment. Yeah, I do think that is a fair comment to make, given what's going on at the moment. What I'm seeing from the club and other podcasts out there, we've discussed the pitch. We know that the club are going to change the pitch. Something new is going to happen there, and we're going to step up the level of our pitch. We know that there's a hotel and there's a museum and there's this amazing looking building going to get put near the stadium. We've seen the financial reports come in for the club recently. We've seen as you've just mentioned, player fees, future transfers, sell-on clauses. My question to everybody on the Colonial Podcast, which is just you, because you're the only one here. Everybody's leaving us, man. Yoppy's gone. Johnny Clifford's disappeared. I should explain. Johnny Clifford isn't on the Colonial Podcast at the moment because he's in Africa with a broken phone, and everything is on his phone, including his flights to New York. His Twitter login and Hotmail have locked him out of his account, so he can't get access to his flights to New York. So Johnny Clifford is just hanging on as a member of this podcast by his fucking fingernails, man. But and you won't be sick, and it's the middle of the night, so they haven't left us, but you know what I'm saying. My question to you is, the gap, is it now a chasm? And is a chasm big enough? Is chasm a big enough word to describe where we are, where Sevco and everybody else are?
Chasm, gulf, a big bloody lot of space between the two teams. I mean, there's just no comparison.
Ocean, fucking light years.
There's no comparison. You know, you've got the kind of the svelte, you know, toned bloody machine that is Celtic right now, where everything is going right, and you compare that to the decaying fucking mob across the city, who, I mean, are they even going to be around in a year's time? No one actually knows.
Yep.
You know, they've got an owner that doesn't seem to care, who lies his way through life, who's made a whole lot of false promises to their fans, which they're only just now waking up to. That's probably the interesting thing, and it's something that that is kind of out with the kind of Rangers supporters' character normally, but they do seem to be kind of revolting against their owners more and more now. We all told them this was coming, so when Dave King takes over from Mike Ashley, you say, well, look, you know, if this guy is your great white hope, then you're really in shit, because this is a convicted tax fraud criminal, you know, a fucking glib and shameless liar, and he had the chance to bail you out before your old club died, and he didn't do it. He could have invested his millions in, but he waited until the shares were available at a knockdown price, and now he's here. So none of them clicked back then that this was going to be a bad move and it was all going to end in tears. But you know, it's taken them 2 years to realise it.
But the signals, I mean, the writing was on the wall to an extent for them. I mean, I remember listening to Tom English, and who sometimes I just can't stand Tom English, and other times I actually like what he says. But he was saying at the time, Dave King, look, this is an appointment of Rangers that could go either way. But the guy's track record in South Africa, he's criminal charges for financial fraud. He's got 40 charges. He had to pay his way out of that, otherwise he would get sent to jail. And this is a guy who's going to come and save you after we've been through the Craig White thing, and everybody laughs at Craig White, but we all know the real criminal was David Murray. And I go on Twitter, and the number of people I see going on about Craig White, and yeah, it's a comedy. He's a comedy figure. Do you know what I mean? I get it. He's for Celtic fans, it's like Craig White is just, you know, he's an icon. But David Murray is a man that we should all be thanking to an extent. The arsehole who tried to kill our club, along with the institutions that run football and the bank. He's the one that we need to actually say thank you, because it was his actions that caused this whole debacle for them, and they hold him up in high regard. It amazes me how many of them don't actually understand what happened to them. They're so just blind with this we are the people mentality, and it's getting slowly through to a lot of them. And there's been discussion. There's a good meme, I put it up recently, which is, you say obsessed, I say amused, and it's a picture of Leo DiCaprio from The Great Gatsby holding out a glass of champagne, and he's like, you say I'm obsessed. But at the end of the day, I mean, you reap what you sow, as far as I'm concerned, you know.
But we're actually doing them a favour by, you know, still paying attention to the misery. Because if we were actually just to stop commenting about it and ignore what was going on over there, they would make them feel even worse.
Never feel bad for rubbing it into them, never, because they rubbed their noses in shite for so long. I wouldn't hesitate to noise them up ever. I mean, I think if you do it all day long and that's all you do, then it's maybe a bit much. But yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe we're doing them a favour. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, you look at what's going on, boys. I mean, the hotel's going up, and I saw a list of names for the Celtic hotel, this new hotel that's going up. The best, I don't know what your favourite, but mine was the Vatican Inn. The Vatican. That's a winner.
Just listening to the Smell of God podcast earlier on, and Rev beat me to it, but my favourite was a Radisson, where I thought the kind of capital R-A.
The
Radisson.
Radisson. That's good. That is good.
It is good. Some of the memes going around for that as well were bloody hilarious. The one with Effie Ambrose as a concierge. Welcome to the Hotel Celtic. New job for Effie.
I saw that, and I was thinking, we were talking to Yompe on Twitter, and we were thinking, who could we have running the lift? We thought we'd have Warburton as the bellboy, and then I thought, actually, better to have McCoist operating the lift, and you'd have him going down. You'd be like, going down Division 3.
There's only one job for McCoy's when it comes to the hotel, and it's not in the hotel, it's outside it doing the gardening.
Aye,
Got to be.
I saw that. He's going to get. I saw someone on Twitter saying, "Do you need a gardener?" I'd have him in the lift. I'd have him in the lift with the wee hat on, the bellboy hat on, with the wee chin strap.
How many people could you fit in the same lift as McCoyster? You'd be looking at 2 maximum.
Is he? I don't know how big McCoyster is now. Is he big?
Oh, he has been for a while, yeah.
Is he? I don't know. I've not seen a picture of him for ages. I know he was getting quite chubby for a while, but I don't know. No idea. Don't care. It's funny, like, watching them go crazy, like Kenny Miller's missus. Shut the fuck up. Alright. It was so funny seeing that on Twitter. Like, she just lost it. If anybody doesn't know, Kenny Miller's missus had to go at Chris Sutton for applauding Inverness Cali Thistle's fantastic first goal, and it was a good goal, but she lost the plot, went on Twitter and told them to shut the fuck up. Literally. Oh,
I was reading about some of her past misdemeanours as well, like getting into a fight with a gangster's daughter in some restaurant or something like that, and a couple of other things he's done. Just sounds like an absolute nutter. But yeah, right? From what I can tell, Chris Sutton was actually quite complimentary about Kenny Miller during that game as well. And but no, shut the fuck up.
I was thinking
Leave
about.
us alone.
I know. It's brilliant. That's brilliant. I like just. I was like, really? Did you do that? He must have come home and gone, what did you just do? I was thinking about Kenny Miller recently, and like, if you look at the number of goals he scored for Sevco, he has probably single-handedly kept them in the top half of the table. Easily.
Yeah. Not just the goals that he scored, but also just his all-round play. He's been their best player. I think someone said he scored like 6 league goals, something like that, during the course of the season. And he's been held up.
Only 6?
Yeah.
Has he?
Yeah.
Fuck, it seems more than that, man. Like,
I think Waghorn's in 12, but I think a few of them were in like other tournaments. But yeah, he was a top league goal scorer in 6 goals.
Holy shit, I had no idea.
But look, someone put up a table of kind of form over the last 7 games there, and on current form, Rangers are relegation material. So they are 11th out of 12 teams when it comes to current form.
His face isn't as orange as it used to be. Have you noticed that?
It's still pretty orange.
Is it? When I've seen him,
has he not got some kind of skin condition or something like that?
Has he?
That makes him orange. Yeah, I'm sure I read that somewhere.
It's because he's an Oompa Loompa, man.
Oompa Loompa.
He drank too many cans of Fanta when he was wee. That's what it was, man. He was on the Jubilees all day, and they just stuck to his face. Jubilees, by the way, for people under the age of 45, are frozen ice drinks that you used to get from the vans in Glasgow that turns your face bright red or orange. I think you got. Did you get orange ones? Orange Jubilees.
So he's overdosed in orange Jubilees as a kid.
OD'd on Iron Brew, Jubilees and Fanta, and by the time he reached puberty he was just ginger face. But that gave him the power to score goals for the current Buns, which he's still doing. If he hadn't scored those goals, they'd be I said at the beginning of that, here we go, it's Nostradamus, Nostracalonius here with my visions of the future. I've got one coming on now. Rangers are going to get relegated this season. There you go. You heard it here first. Peter Money on now. If Leicester can win the league and somebody can win, what did that guy win? The guy that bet on Leicester and won fucking Euro Millions or whatever it was. Get your money on now. Do it. Get onto the bookies now. Rangers for relegation. It's coming. Meltdown. They'll just skyrocket straight to the bottom of the fucking. Actually, skyrocket's not a good description because the rockets usually go up, but you know what I mean. They'll go down. Listen, the cider's kicking in now, so I just you know what I mean. I can't. It always ends up about Sevco when I get enough booze in me or we get going. There's too much coming out from them. I've got pages and pages of stuff about Sevco. It's ridiculous. Like, their fans, the ones that actually have a brain, must just sit in social media and go, "Oh no, what's it this week?" Do you know what I mean?
I think a few of the homeboys, a couple of them are thinking that some of the Rangers fans are not far from packing it in now. just because of all the shit that's going on, the fact they've now got another fucking, cheat in charge of the club, another criminal in charge of the club. They've lost their manager. They've got a manager doing handstands at the side of the pitch. It's just a constant.
What was that all about, man? Did you see him? What was he doing? What the was that supposed to be? That's the most bizarre. I've seen some crazy stuff from managers, but that, I mean, Mark McGee and him must have they're tied for the most bizarre managerial display at a game. I can't believe that he did that. It was like, what was that? It was.
Well, the McGee one was your kind of standard meltdown. Someone's got a camera phone in your face as you're getting sent to the stand.
He's nuts. McGee's crazy, man.
Oh, he is. I mean, he's a sour-faced wank, but at the same time, Murty, I genuinely, I'm not just saying this, a fear for his sanity in that role, because he's not cut out for it.
Who, McGee or
Murty?
I know he's not. He won't last long.
Well, are they? You would assume he wouldn't do. I mean, I saw that Barry Ferguson handed in his resignation to Clyde today. So I mean, that would just be fantastic. Can you imagine him being manager at the Glasgow Derby?
Can it be true? Have my dreams come true? Has Neil McCann handed his contract to him with Sky? All we need now. No, wait. I'm getting another vision. It's coming to me. Chris Boyd will now hand in. He'll give up his career as a football pundit, and Chris Boyd has been doing some fantastic work recently, by the way, with BBC. It was at Radio 5 Live Sport, or whatever it was, with him and Chris Sutton. Chris Sutton tore him a new arsehole. But can you imagine? Right, here we go. Barry Ferguson as director of football. Neil McCann is manager, and Chris Boyd is his assistant.
I'm thinking Chris Boyd, director of football, Neil McCann, manager, and wee Baza as his boot boy.
No, but Chris Boyd doesn't use computers. Remember?
He doesn't need a computer to be director of football.
You need a laptop to be. You need a laptop to be able to understand what's going on at a football club in this new era of football. He's brilliant, man. They were talking about Billy Davis, who has been down in England and all that, and he was like, Billy Davis is great, but because he's in the frame for the Rangers job, and Tom English was going, look, Chris, Billy Davis is a head case, right? He's good at managing players, but he's nuts. And no, he was like, how is he? But it was like that. That's what the conversation was like. It was like when you're arguing with one of these guys in Glasgow, and they've got maybe like 3 brain cells. Like, how is it? But how's that? But and it was literally that. So that you've listened back. I think it's like 3 episodes ago. Yeah. Tom English is like, no, look, Billy Davis has got serious issues. He flies off the handle. He's got a temper. Blah, blah, blah. And the way Boyd was talking to him, it was just like, I was like, yes, awesome, man, fucking go. That's going in the bank for later. Like, just listen back to it. It's a treat forever. And that's what Sevco do for us. They supply an endless, never-ending supply line of just joy for us. And it can't get any better. The theme of this podcast was, what do we talk about? All how much higher is it going to go now that we've moved into this new era where we're getting this hotel and museum, and we've got the standing section, we've got the Green Brigade, we've got the Celtic Way, we've got an amazing manager. We're bringing in brilliant players, and that's only the beginning of what's about to happen at Celtic Park. Like, it's crazy. Where do we go from here? It's just, for us, it's just sit back and watch the ride. That's what I feel like as a Celtic supporter now. It's just like I've gone through, I'm 45 now, and it's like I remember the dark years, and it's like I'm not bored. B, I don't feel sorry for Sevco, and C, I'm going to enjoy the fucking ride. I'm strapping myself in, and it's like, fucking, let's go. Where are we going? Because next destination is the Champions League, mate.
Mm-hmm. And that's when it's business time. When it comes to, as you're saying, at the moment, it just feels like a carnival ride. you know, and it's great and everything else. You know, we've got our targets, which are finishing the season unbeaten, winning the treble, and probably having the biggest kind of points difference between a first and second place team that's ever happened. But you know, it's all kind of free hits at the moment. But when we need to start getting things right is going to be when the transfer window opens, back at training, and you know, we start building our team for the group stage of the Champions League. But yeah, at the moment, the diversion that is Sevco is just it's great. It's great.
It's fantastic, mate. It's another whole podcast that we could do on that. I mean, there's so much that I could talk about, and we won't do that because A, you've got to go to bed. B, it's a school night, and I've had four ciders, moving on to another beer, so I should probably wind my neck in. But look, I mean, it really doesn't get any better than this. I can't think of a time where the club has been more successful than it is just now. And that really rivals. You think about what Martin O'Neill did and everything else. We had Henrik Larsson. Like, if we can retain the one thing I want to say, and I was going to save this for another podcast, but if we can retain people like Kieran Tierney, and maybe by a fucking ball hair's chance keep someone like Dembele for one more season. I mean, if we can do one season with him in Europe or two, the potential is amazing. So yeah, group stages, qualification from group stages, the money that's there, it's on the up, man. It's ridiculous. So yeah, fantastic. Listen, should we call it a day before we talk any more shite and people just stop listening to this podcast altogether? I think we should.
How many people do you reckon have made it this far?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. But listen, I want to thank everybody who listens to us and who's been listening to us for a while. Big shout out to everybody on Twitter. There's some great people on Twitter, all the regulars. I mean, there's some fantastic people that you regularly keep in touch with us at the podcast. We do this because we love the club. We don't do this for any other reason. And if I think at Christmas we had a lot of people listening to us, and a lot of that was because Spreaker had changed the way that they actually calculate statistics, and there was a whole range of stuff. It was getting ridiculous. It was like 10,000 listens, and it was just ridiculous. But now it was 6 months ago or more where I started this podcast, and I got 100, and then when I was on Hail Media, when they asked me to come on, it went right up. And I'm happy if a few hundred to 1,000 or whatever listen. Thank you to everybody who tunes in and listens to us. We do this for no other reason that we love Celtic, and we're over here in New Zealand, and we love speaking to everybody who wants to come on and who loves the club. The next few coming episodes, not the next few coming episodes, but in the future, this episode, we're going to do a few different things with this podcast going forward. You'll notice a few changes in terms of who's coming on the podcast, and try to get more New Zealand focused, because there's a lot of stuff happening in New Zealand in terms of the football out here. And just, I want to do that. I've been saying it for a while, but we're actually getting down to it. So I know, JP, you've been working on something for the podcast. I'm working on something as well, so a little bit different. Some guests on people that play the game and stuff like that coming up. Obviously, we're always going to have Yompi on when we can get him. We'll bring Johnny Clifford in if he makes it out of Africa alive, with no STDs and no deadly viruses.
Hot dog attacks.
If he gets past the Trump wall with his dodgy Mexican gang tattoos and doesn't get raped at the border. Beast. But look, thank you to everybody that listens to us, and thanks to everybody at Hail Media, and well done to all the other podcasts out there. There's some brilliant podcasts going on at the moment, even outside Hail Media. I listen to them all. I'm a fan. I've always been a fan. I always will be a fan. There's not a podcast out there that I would say I really don't like. So it's a great time to be a Celtic supporter. It's a great time to be into these podcasts. So the future's bright. It's green and white. I said it before, but I'll say it again. That's been the Colonial Podcast, episode 16. So it's a hail from me. Thank you, JP, for doing this with me tonight, mate. I appreciate your time.
Cheers, bro. Hail.
Alright, mate, we'll catch you again next week, hopefully with Yompi and the rest of the crew, who knows. But to everybody out there listening, have a great week, and enjoy yourselves, and we'll speak to you soon. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
They just have to go 'cause they don't know where. So while you're sleep now. Windmill, windmill for the land, the forever hand in hand. Take it all out on your stride, it is taking voting land. Love forever, love is free, let's turn forever, you and me. Windmill, windmill for the land, is everybody in.
Laughing gas, these hazmats, fast cat, lining them up like ass crack. Play these ponies at the track, it's my chocolate attack. Shit, I'm stepping in harder this year. Yeah, bear repping in harder this year. Watch me as I gravitate. Ha 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 ha. Yo, we gon' ghost town, this Motown with your sound. You in the blink, gon' bite the dust, can't fight with us. With your sound, you kill the ink. So don't stop, get it, until you chat ahead and watch the way I navigate. Ha 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 ha.
Windmill, windmill for the land, the forever hand in hand. Take it all out on your stride, it is taking voting land. Love forever, love is free, let's turn forever, you and me. Windmill, windmill for the land, is everybody in.
Don't stop, get it, deep high, your captain's in it, steady.